Ah, geez. It's Food Life once again. In today's episode, we'll be making a meal of patience. It's a quick and easy setup, but you're going to have to wait for it, and the longer the wait, the better it tastes. So if you'd like to follow along at home, you'll need a roast, some onions, mixed vegetables, some small potatoes, seasoning, and a little bit of oil. If you've got all that, then let's go. Here we have a behind-the-scenes shot of the introductory hand wash. Usually this isn't included, but I thought it would make a great PSA to notify you guys that, hey, wash your hands before you cook. You don't want some gross hands touching on that food. Even though you could make the argument that the germs could cook off, out of principle, have some respect for the people that you're feeding. And now we have the onion. Cut off the top, cut off the bottom, 2 slits on the sides, and take that skin right off. Super easy stuff. And then we go once down the middle, and just cut the onion into long, thinner slices. I watched a video of Paul McCartney making mashed potatoes, and his secret ingredient was some onion. And he had no idea how to cut that onion. It was crazy. He was cutting it in midair, and then, I don't know, nothing about it was that awesome, but he's a Beatle, so I think he gets the pass. And now we have the potatoes. You're going to take each one of them and cut them one by one. Down the middle, and then take those 2 halves that you've produced and cut those down the middle, so you end up with 4 quarters. Just like that. But it's going to take some time. I should also mention that I pre-washed the potatoes before I started cutting them. My mother likes to just take the potatoes, wash them off, and then put them whole into the pot. But I think that cutting them, it adds a lot more flavor to the potatoes. I think they're kind of bland if you don't do it like this. But if you're in a pinch, the other works just fine. At the end of the day, it's all personal preference. And if you're the chef, you get to make the rolls. So I'm the chef here. I like them in quarters. Now let's get on with this oil. Just dump it in, just like that. Just like that. You want a depth of about a 1/2 inch all the way around, and then just heat it up. What we're doing now is a time-saving process. So you heat up the oil, move on to this next step of seasonings, and then when you come back, that oil is going to be hot and ready for you to braise that beef. As you see here, we get the spices, just dump them into 1 cup of water. Really easy. At the store you can find this spice. It's called savory pot roast. You might want to write that down. Savory pot roast. Just dump it in the water, and then you're going to give it a little mix until it's one color. All the granules have disintegrated into the water, and you'll be good to go. Now let's grab this crock pot. All you do is plug it in, take off the lid, and we're going to do a special step here. You got to layer the bottom with onions. That way, we have the beef cooking in suspension. I think this is a very, very important step that I don't know how other people do it, but I could see them not taking this into account. I think it's good because you want the roast to cook evenly. If it's right against the bottom of that porcelain, I think there would be some uneven cooking. Now we're going to take this beef and we're going to braise it. That means you got to cook the top, the bottom, and all the sides. You take the tongs and literally grab it and put it on its side because it's not going to stand up by itself. Funny story about this is that I wanted to have a roast waiting for me once I got home from class, but I woke up late. So I ran to the kitchen in my underwear. No shirt, of course, because that's how the guys sleep. And I'm braising a roast, and there's oil getting all over me. It's freaking crazy, terrifying, and it kind of hurt. But I'm good. I had the roast later. It was great. Perfect timing. But you want to wear a shirt while doing this. And that leads me to another important point. You want to use a pretty deep pan like I'm using right here. If you use just like a skillet, it's not going to work out for you. And even if you're wearing a shirt, you're probably going to get burnt. So it's better if you use this deep type of pan or deep pot, maybe a larger pot, whatever you got on hand. And now we're just going to layer in these potatoes, these mixed vegetables, and these onions, one on top of the other. I like to do the layering because, again, it makes the dish more even. And I'm all for that. So we take one after the other and just put them in. And this is where the love comes in. You just don't want to toss them. You just don't want to throw them in there. You want to really take them and take your time, put them in there right. really, really make sure they're in there. It's the love. That's what changes the meal here. You can throw them in there if you want, but I'll tell you right now, it's not going to taste as good. And then we get the spices. Once everything's piled up in there, you take it and you just pour it over everything. And listen, I've gotten nervous about having not enough spice many times, to the point where I've actually put an extra half packet in there, but I can assure you that one packet is enough for this amount of stuff. Even though it may seem like a lot, you're good. Two hours later, here we go. Let's check it out. Oh, not yet, but it's looking good. This is, like I was saying, this is where I get kind of nervous. I'm like, oh my gosh, is it doing its job or not? No, you gotta give it more time. A meal of patience, I say. Just wait on it. Everything's gonna cook down. So much water in those onions still, so much water in those mixed vegetables. Just hold on a second. Hold on a second, it'll turn out great. Oh geez, 4 hours later, let's see what we got. Oh, it's looking good. It's looking really good. Right color, we're on the right path, but the potatoes are still hard. The vegetables not totally cooked yet, not like we want, but this is the big deal right here. Oh, not tender enough yet. Look, it's still super toughened together. If we lift it out when it's done, it's just gonna fall right off. You're gonna see that. It's satisfying. Aw, yeah. It's roast time. Let's get it. Let's see how it's done. Woo! Looks perfect. Percolating perfectly. Get that alliteration in there. The vegetables are perfectly wilted. Those potatoes are soft. All we have to do now is see how the meat is. Get that fork and knife out. See. Oh yeah, exactly where we want it. Just falling off, just like that. Can pull it right apart. Cut through it like butter. Perfect. That is the beauty of the crock pot right there. I'd say this meal serves about 4 to 5 people. More people if they're all smaller. But for me, here's what I do. I eat 1 plate now, and I put the rest in the refrigerator. That's because the leftovers taste even better. You've had this meal sit together for 6 hours. Imagine 18. Just so much better. Not saying that it's bad now, by any means. We're turning a 10 up to an 11. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. So, I have the leftovers. I'm a leftovers guy. You know, put that salt and pepper on it. I think this is a crucial step. The seasoning does not have enough, so just gotta add a little bit more. And look, it's perfect. Perfectly shiny. Yeah, look at that glisten. And, as always, if you make it yourself, let me know about it. Peace out.